Our mind is a reservoir of mental defilements that we have gathered from life to life. These defilements create thoughts and thoughts create defilements. We have these defilements layers after layers. They are heaped up throughout existence because we have been constantly thinking. We think of things that we like. Liking something is a mental defilement. It's called raga. Or we think of things that we dislike. Disliking is a form of mental defilement. It is called resentment in English, disliking, and in Pali it is called dosa. We think of things that we are ignorant of. It's called moha in Pali. It is also a mental defilement. And in fact, they are the root causes of mental defilement. Liking, disliking, and being ignorant are the root causes of mental defilement. What are mental defilements? Our thinking process. In our mind, there is nothing other than mental defilement. They are dark. Dark means they are not clear. Clear means because they are defective. Thoughts are made by sensory stimulation. Sense stimulations provide us with information, provide the mind with information. Those informations are gathered in our mind as memories, as knowledge. And our knowledge is imperfect because the information we have gathered through our defective sense organs are defective. It is the clearance of this mind, this heap of mental defilements lying layer after layer in our mind, that all Buddhas have advised. It is said in the Buddhavagga of the Dhammapada, all Buddhas advise to cleanse the mind. Sacitta pariyodapanam etam buddhara sasana. The main advice of the Buddha. Cleansing the mind, cleaning the mind is the only way, one and only way to attain Nirvana. Nirvana is beyond our mind. Beyond our mind means thinking. Our mind is a reservoir of thinking, not a reservoir. There's a flood, a torrential flood of thoughts flowing through our mind. And the real reality is covered by the torrential thoughts. Because thoughts are mental images. Mental images are illusions. In the entire world that we know is within our mind. Our mind is within our body. That is why the Buddha said in the Rohitassa Sutta, Vyamatta kalebere panyapimi lokancha. Our world is in our body, which is about 6 feet. That is the simple meaning. mind is made, this world is made by body means made by our sense organs, which are limited in their capacity to experience the reality. They know a very little amount of reality. We can see the entire range of colors. The colors that we can see are limited. The sounds that we can hear are limited, strictly limited. The smells we can experience are limited. The taste are limited. Our touch is limited. In fact, the touch of a normal being with eyes is incapable of sensing things that the blind can sense, because our touch system is limited in its capacity to know things. Therefore, defective sensation leads to defective ideas, mental images that get recorded in our brain cells, saved in our brain cells, and with that information, with that knowledge, we start thinking. Without knowledge, we cannot think. And thinking also dependent on mental defilement. They are reciprocal. Mental defilements call our knowledge or memories lead to thinking, and thinking in terms supply our consciousness with mental defilements through our liking, disliking, and ignorance. And what we call our self is a mental formation, mental image, product of our mind. It is not an actual reality. It is an illusion that you can realize by investigating into your own mind, by observing your own mind, so that you get enlightened. Enlightened means the darkness gets dispelled in the mind. What is the darkness? The darkness created by mental defilements. When mental defilements are removed, there is no thinking process. Thinking ceases. Thought formation ceases. That is what the Buddha said at his enlightenment, Visankara Gatan Chittam. At my enlightenment, thinking stopped. No more thinking. Thinking means formation of mental images. Our mind is filled with nothing other than mental images, which are illusions. When there is no thinking, when the mind is not dependent on the defective information saved in our brain, our human hard disk, at the enlightenment, the mind becomes empty. That is why Nirvana is called Sunyata, emptiness, void. What is empty? The mind is empty of its thoughts and feelings, which are mental formations. When these mental images, mental formations, which are defilements, are removed, that is the complete cleansing of the mind, cleaning the mind. When the mind is completely clean, it is free of all thoughts and feelings. Then there is the original mind. It is nothing but the enlightenment, the Nirvana. Enlightenment of the mind means the darkness of the mental defilements caused by mental defilements are removed. There dawns the light, aloko udapadi. Until enlightenment, We cannot see things as they really are. No yatha bhuta jnana darsana with our normal senses, normal mind. The reality is beyond the mind, beyond thinking, beyond knowledge, and also beyond wisdom. Even wisdom too is a product of the mind. It is a human inheritance. We are born with the capacity called wisdom. It's a kind of intuition, intuitive power of the mind. That is also a product of the mind. Realizing Nirvana is beyond the mind, beyond the mental defilements. That is found in a non-thinking mind. That is why the path to Nibbana lies in non-thinking. When an ascetic called Bahya asked the Buddha in the Rohitasa Sutta, this is called Rohitasa Sutta, Buddha advised him within few seconds, don't think of your sensations. When the eye sees something, don't think of it. Don't have thought formations. Don't make mental images. Just be aware. The eye becomes aware of forms outside the eye. And also the forms reflected in the eye. In fact, the eye cannot see, although we think we are seeing something outside, we can become conscious of only the image created in our eye, the sound created in our ear, the smell created in our nose, the taste created in our tongue, the touch sensation created in our body, mental images created in our mind. They are called Dhamma. The mind, because they are made of degrees, they are digital information, digital images. Therefore, the mind is called, creating digital images called Mano. And those digital images that the mind relies on to create further images is in our heart is called the brain, the reserved memory. Our entire memory, entire knowledge, entire set of information is not an actual reality, though it appears to be a reality. The actual reality is beyond our mind, beyond our thinking, and non-thinking is the attainment of enlightenment. The main illusion caused by our mind is our self, the notion of self, the image of self. That get extinct at the first stable step in Nirvana, and that is called stream winning stage, Sotapanna in Pali. Although the sense or the idea of a self disappears at this first stage, the habit, the tendency created throughout our existence by the mind as a self remains in a remnant form. And all the remnants of a self, because your body and the mind has to be identified as a separate unit. A unit separate from the rest of the space and time, rest of the universe. A separate being. Buddha is a separate being, separate unit. Reverend Ananda is a separate unit. Reverend Moggallana or Sariputta, they are all separate units. That separateness disappears mentally at the enlightenment. When you become one with the entire space and time, beyond all bounds. That is why it is said in the sutta called Kevadda Sutta, Nirvana, the enlightenment, is beyond all boundaries. Anantam, boundless, infinite, boundless. Sabbato Pabang, all illuminated, nothing hidden, no wrong information, no defective mental illusions are there in the Nirvana. The mind is completely clear. Therefore, clearance of the mind means the clearance of the self created by the mind. The image of self is a product of the mind. When the mind is completely clean and empty, it is free of all images inclusive of the image of a self. And that is the real self-realization, real clearance of the self, real purification of the self. Purity means the mind agantuke upakkilese upakkilito the Buddha. Our mind is defiled by foreign defilements, foreign elements. Whatever that is foreign to the mind can be removed and get removed at the enlightenment. When all the foreign elements are removed from the mind, they are all defilements. The mind is pure and completely clean. And that mind is not limited in time and space. It is beyond you, beyond everything, and beyond all bounds of time and space. That is why the enlightened can see everything now, beyond time. That is called Sanditiko. And here, beyond space, here and now, they can experience things far away in time and space can be detected here because enlightened mind becomes one with the boundless space and time. Anantam Sabbato Paba. That is fully clear, entirely clear. And in that there is no separate self. That is why Reverend Buddhaghosa said, there is a Nirvana, there is Nirvana, Atti Nibbhuti, no Nibbhutu. There is nobody enlightened in the Nirvana. Nirvana is impersonal, Ananta, and also Anatta, selfless. It is only religion that says there is no self, that is Buddhism. What we call self is a mental creation. It is a complete clearance of self and complete clearance of the mind that created the self that becomes our enlightenment. And that is the eternal bliss. That bliss you cannot experience, there is nobody to experience it. You become one with the bliss. There is realization. There is no separation between the Buddha and the Nirvana. That is why Buddha said in the Vakkali Sutta, Yo dhammam pasati somam pasati. If you can see the Nirvana, you can see me, the Buddha. If you can see me, you can see the Dhamma. They are like two sides of the same coin. That is the realization of enlightenment. That is the realization of Nirvana. The enlightened become one with the Nirvana, one with the eternity, one with the boundless. That is beyond words, descriptions, images. You can sense it, Vijnanam Anidassanam, that is what is said in the Kevada Sutta. There is no example that can be given to show what Nirvana is. It is beyond thinking, that is why it is called Atakkavachara. It is not a thought formation. All your ideas about Nirvana are not the real Nirvana. They are only mental images. You may get deceived by the idea of Nirvana that get formed in your mind through the information that you gather. The reality is not that. Your knowledge of Nirvana is a mental image, a product of the mind. The real Nirvana is not a product of the mind, beyond the mind. Mind is nothing other than yourself. Self and the mind are two sides of the same coin. When there is a mind, there is a self. When there is a self, the self thinks. Self thinks because the self has a thirst for pleasure. The thirst for pleasure is called kamatanha. And the self has identified certain pleasures as pleasant. That means every being has a different taste of pleasure. And he wants the type of pleasure he likes, and that is called bhavatanha. And he doesn't want any other pleasure or any other pain, that is called vibhavatanha. This all happens through ignorance. Ignorance is nothing other than your knowledge. Your knowledge has deceived you. Your mind has deceived you. All your thoughts have deceived you. All mental images have deceived you. The ultimate truth is beyond the mind, beyond thinking, beyond mental images, beyond all mental products. It is not a product of the mind. That you will realize one day by observing your own mind, its activities, investigating into it, analyzing it, you will realize what your mind is. That it is the greatest impediment to Nirvana. It covers the Nirvana. All Nirvanas that hide the Nirvana is within the mind. All Nirvanas. They are the basic mental defilements. Our mind is nothing other than a heap of mental defilements that get identified with the idea of a self that vanishes with the complete clearance of the mind.